So, Rhys, you there? Hello? Hello?
Rhys is in Horn World.
Can everyone hear me?
Commerce, mercantile genuflection versus disease runs for reality, but in failing, spreading ink in water, smoke in air. Lost mark made denotes vowel cry in void. The insight is not enough. Observance of nature is required. Hello, mischief makers.
Hello. Shall we record this thing? Trimble!
Hello. I can't
Shall we
hear you.
record this thing?
Hello, hello, yeah.
Iris, speak.
Yes.
I'm speaking. Rhys, could you start the recording? Please.
Yeah, he did.
He did?
He did. I saw it say, my phone said, Rhys is recording.
Oh, great. So, who's reading?
Who, indeed. Oh yeah, we're going to do a tombola. That's right, isn't it?
Yes. I've got some special red paper, a red glass,
French paper.
and a red pen. And I'm
Paul
going
and
to
Vanessa.
put all of the names of the people in these things. And then we will pick out the different names after each person reads to see who's reading next.
And I've got
If
a
that
similar
sounds all
setup
right.
as well. I've got these. I got everybody's names and I'm going to put them in my Krampus hat.
So what are everybody's names?
I've got Chris Paul. He's not here. What about Paul? Is Paul going to read?
I think so. Paul?
Yes,
Volunteer.
hello, as in me. Hello, I can
Yes,
read you.
you, Paul.
Yes, right. That's quite easy because we can knock off the Chris and just put in Ingram. Great. Also, Doug. I can see Doug. Yep.
Hi, Doug.
I got Tilla.
Hi, Tilla.
Hi.
Sorry for misspelling your name completely.
No worries.
I've got Tim Allen who's just arrived. There he is. Look at
Hello.
his brushy tail and so on. And Luna and Adrian, I can see you.
Hey, hello.
Looking very beautiful.
Thank you.
We've got the Master of Mischief. You gonna do
Yes.
something?
Yes.
There's me, Krampus. And is that everyone?
you and yeah, that's it. I think. Is that everyone?
We could just spend a reading, plotting a reading, and not actually do it. That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Well, you should have told me about that before we planned on actually doing this thing. Sounds way more
Nonsense.
fun.
Right, pick the first name then, Master of Mischief.
Yes, I shall.
Round and round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. And the winner is...
And the winner is someone whose name I cannot read because I wrote on red card with a red pen, and it's Tim Allen.
Oh, God.
Tim, winner.
Hello?
You're the
Hello,
winner,
Tim.
Tim.
What do I do?
Do your worst.
Mischief. Read poems. Terrible poems.
Read some
Brilliant
poems.
poems.
Oh,
What?
yes. The idea was 13 minutes.
Hello.
As she says.
13 minutes?
Yes.
Less, more, whatever.
Less, more, or 13 minutes.
At the point
What,
of like,
just 30 minutes straight? Oh, okay. Well, that's not... Okay.
it's more
Tell me
satanic,
when
isn't
I'm...
Tim?
Tell me when I've done 12. Tell me when
Okay.
I've done 10.
How
Okay.
should we tell you? I assume this is not a very good way.
That'll do.
No, I don't think I can do that.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
We'll wave wildly, or maybe do like a clicking sound. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, wave, click, whatever.
Okay, we'll do that.
Right, start.
Can I just say hello to Tilla there? Because I haven't seen her for years.
Yeah, no, great to see you. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Have a chat later, maybe.
Okay. All right then. All these ones I'm reading are from a sequence called Very Rare Poems Upon the Earth. 128 improvisations. You're not going to get 128 though. Okay. Okay, I've never read any of these out, so here we go. Telepathy. A so-called place with a collection of recognizable stuff, arranged in dimensional slots, a kind of sequencing, e.g. some houses and a cenotaph under a cobbled sky. Such thing places have this duality, their dutiful history and stubborn, calm independence from such history. This a contradiction. You can weigh with your eyes, weigh but not take measure, if you are made of the same stuff. The therapist's last evening session. Abattoir. Hopscotch apps. Relapse. Bristles. This accelerated hesitation. The denomination of the stones. Just about the funniest anecdote stones have had to laugh at. Bristles scrunched. Cobbled ski slope between a terrace of stubbed little cottages, nominated for a Creative Industries Prize. Select yours from the antique shop. The only china is a china bulldog fevered pup, dream lubricated by a liquefied acorn. A self-styled familiar gang of artful peasants throwing themselves beneath the wheel of fortune. This one's called Idyllic. Idyllic. Rapid. Rapids. The rapids. Lethe without tears. Python. Pylon. Dipped. Spade. Parade. Ground revenue. Severance. Resemblance. Violence with out tears. Fleet. On foot. Fleeing. Rapid. Fire. Unfair fire. Pleated. Rife sand dune thumbs up pride. Unified pride. Undetected. In. Prepaid. Translation from. The rivers rivals arrival in the toothless storm. The mortician's lethal reptile house pay grade. The resemblance is uncanny, a contradiction of the pattern of poetic migration, a misapplied science of impatience, like a futurist nature poet, parading in his window seat, his bucket seat, his bucket tucked inside his reclining pylon, like a duck inside a python, jungled metaphors growing a pace in his head in a bucket. I laugh as I still think about it, remember it, recall it as wet raffle tickets sticking without tears to his physog. Now I wonder if Tilla knows what I was on about there. It's a memory, Tilla. I can't hear you.
I didn't know I was going to be tested.
Well,
so
can you remember? Can you remember the bloke with the bucket
oh yes,
and the raffle tickets?
of course, yeah.
Well, that's what that memory was.
Well, there we
Fabulous
are.
prizes to be won.
And I laugh every time. There was this bloke and he had this bucket and he full of, anyway, he poured it all over his head and all his raffle tickets were all stuck to him. It was the early days of the avant-garde. Right. Vaccination. Nothing to do with vaccination, but it's called vaccination. Give me a word. Constricted. Thanks. Now give me an other. Mandelbrot. Thanks. That's perfect. Okay. One more. Swallow. Thanks. That's enough sweet nothings and Freudian petticoats to be getting along with when everyone and everything gaining entry into Roussel's gardens squeezed into the tube, conflicted as to which pain to focus on to dispel the rest into the ether or the what was that? Or the identical.
That was me, sorry. I'm just heckling my own reading. It's an accident. Sorry.
Or the.
Sorry, Tim.
You're going to put me right off now, Rhys.
Tim, go
Dispel
with it.
the rest into
Go
the
with it,
ether, or the identical other, strictly empty enigmas. For want of air, for want of peace and quiet, for want it's an inherited labyrinth or a verbal husk, risks hiring the wrong interpreter, one without qualifications or any innate thirst for interpreting Mandelbrots. At least he knows how to say thank you. Thought has a track, but no destination, thank you. And the tricks up his sleeve, out like shadows, like swallows, like a coroner's court jester riding a beautiful horse over the threshold of necessity. How much time have I got left?
Ray. One more?
You've still got, yeah, like 5 minutes.
So this
Okay.
at this point, I'm going to explain that I haven't got a business account. So when it comes to 7:40, we're going to have an exciting time of whether the meeting gets shut down and everybody has to re-sign in, or whether they grant us extra time from the gods. So bear that in mind.
Usually just carry on.
Yes, you carry on for 5 minutes, Tim.
Okay. Oh, I've just read that one.
Yeah, a different one if possible.
Yeah, a different one. Right, okay. I'm going to, right, I'll read this one. Very sensible, this one. It's called Addition. Addition. A passing walk pressed, idle request for erect fleeing. Mawkish boundary be twixt walls and walks, resolute furniture, the way architects see things, for shuddering examples made of shade, things refusing to be called words, walk in stinking thrall to whippersnappers, gesticulating ears, hose upsy-daisy power slippers, leafing through the gloomy facade of the gloomy forest at the hushed and highest point of solemn vision, sung as thoughts, slightly immobile. Shame hesitates. Bile, obedient, whelk, stiff, stresses, tresses. Tree streams, stream, trees, effortless, customs, huddled distantly. Not distracting, but sliding inaudibly towards the lime pit, refusing first and last words as if sated by the middle ground, in the middle of a vassal city, in a vessel of misshapen hit and miss lassitude, yet attentive to the flattery of taxidermic homage. In the evening walked, the evening pressed, the evening erect, fled from all boundaries. Yeah, that's enough for me.
Beautiful. Well
Thank
done,
you very
Tim.
much.
Awesome.
This one too.
Oh, hello, Lyndon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tim.
Did somebody say something to me?
Yeah, I said hello.
Hello, Tim. See you.
I've got a little note from you here.
You got the book?
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah, I thought I'd better
Oh, nice.
read this at last.
You'll enjoy that.
A nice
Thanks to
book,
my
that's
mate
very
Pete
nice.
Spence.
Right then, who's next?
Me.
The next victim.
Rhys, would
Hello.
you like to pick the next victim or shall
Yes,
I?
I'm picking. Whilst Tim was reading, I placed the names in my Krampus face.
Oh.
But I
Very
wish I
good.
could have stuck them to my
Multitasking.
face, as Tim was talking about. But right. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. And the winner is Paul Ingram. Woo!
Woo!
You ready, Paul?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hello. all.
So, yeah, go for 10 minutes-ish or 13, whichever seems the most.
I don't know about do that. Let's.
Oh, I can't help but notice that you are wearing a Christmas hat.
Yeah, is that verboten?
I don't know if you saw the comment in the Facebook post.
Only Krampus hats. Chop the top off.
You
Make it a
should
Krampus.
check.
You need some. If you had antlers on it, it'd be fine.
You just don't know what's going to happen if you do wear a Christmas hat. That's all.
You can't
Just
get.
don't know. We're not
Can't
responsible.
get to me. I'm safe in my bubble.
Hmm.
Krampus has long tendrils.
I've had. I got it years ago from like the pound shop, and then today for the first time. Like it's never been washed. It's kind of disgusting. So I feel like it's
Oh, maybe that's okay then. Yeah.
that kind of like it's kind of a decaying.
It's kind of grey.
Is it like set in that shape?
Yeah.
It's not got much flex.
Very yeah. Well, we're a broad church, so it's permitted.
All right.
Take it away, Paul.
Okay, I'll read just a few threats, which are from a collection called Enemy Anonymous. Email to a consultant from Deloitte conducting an independent assessment of program options for the Crown Commercial Service at the Cabinet Office. We beg to say that if the sentences of the men in redacted and all others for rioting is not reduced to 3 months imprisonment, and all those taken hereafter to 1 month's ditto, all the woods to a hedgerow on the redacted estate, that of the other minister, the Crown lands magistrates, constables, and sea engaged in taking and trying the said men shall all be burnt up, even to a furze bush. But we promise faithfully, if you comply with our request, we will refrain from it. All we want is work and fair wages. Don't think that the reward will induce our party to split. We have all put our hand to the match, so we cannot fear each other, and are determined to carry on or have our starving countrymen at liberty. There is only 2 things to be done, and then we shall have peas and plenty, that is machinery taken down, and the clergy paid out of the public revenue, and an income put on to take this burden of the farmer in lieu of the time. Partnership NHS Foundation Trust. Mr. Redacted, this is to give you further notice that if you don't quit these premises in a fortnight's time, we must come and remove you. And I'm sure it is better you went yourself than to be removed by force. Sept 6th, 43, Rebecca. Email to a senior analyst in the International Bank Supervision Directorate of the Prudential Regulation Authority at the Bank of England. To Mr. Redacted, and all others engaged in similar practices. We are much concerned to find that you and your neighbors, redacted, continue to oppose the public good by working those bad articles, single press and 2-course warp. Now do you think that we who have encountered such difficulties and hazarded our lives for the good of the trade are to be opposed and our past efforts made of no effect by your mean obstinacy? No, it shall not be so. You may think that because your frames are secured by the presence of so large a civil and military force, you have nothing to fear, but can defy us with impunity. But you must understand there are more methods of revenge than frame breaking to be resorted to when that is not practicable. For our past labors shall not be in vain. In order that it may not be the case, it is thought proper to inform you what will be done to such of you that persist in making the aforementioned articles. This information is designed for your good, that no children may perish, which if they do, blame your own obstinacy, not us. We have at all times manifested a disposition to spare life. We wished still to show the same, especially where innocent blood is concerned. You may think we shall not be able to fire your houses, but the means which will be used will be so effectual that the flame will rise to the highest room in the house in a moment. The composition to be used is spirits of turpentine, tar, and powdered gunpowder mixed together. A proper quantity of this mixture powdered in the bottom of the door and lighted by the application of a bit of touch paper will do the business instantly. But there are many other modes of revenge, or rather punishment, to be inflicted on the obstinate, equally injurious to life, which will be used where this is not practicable. To prevent any of which evils, take the timely warning, as 14 days will be allowed to finish warps and sea before execution. Mr. Redacted, you may get in a mender, go to the warehouse when others do not, and give a charge of secrecy to your men, but it will not do, for do how you will, we shall be sure to get to know how you act in this matter. This warning is intended for all making the same kind of work. Joe Firebrand, Secretary. Email to a policy researcher with RAND Europe, contributing to a report on climate change prepared by the Global Strategic Partnership convened to support the Development Concepts and Doctrine Center at the Ministry of Defense. Ludding is going to start here again. There has been a metting of the coffers at my house, but I heard what they were on and I would not have them in my house. The way we are for doing is to assemble in private houses and to start out at a certain hour. Ludders this time will die to a man. They're determined to have blood for blood. The swear that thee will shoot thee. First old Beelzebub, the call thee, and then shoot the rest of the devils after redacted, 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 and every other devil that loves machinery, to swear to shoot both and burn. But to prevent all disturbances, order the cavalry or horse soldiers to patrol the streets and order all lights to be put out before 10 o'clock. Other ways they have no peace, depend upon much bloodshed. If proper steps be not observed, redacted or redacted is their principal man. He calls himself General Ludd, sir, redacted. If they do not send this redacted out of this country, there will be destruction and bloodshed. He swears he will shoot these, sir, redacted. This redacted has been a delegate to redacted, and all over the country he lives, redacted near Mr. Redacted. Those are principal men of the Ludders, but do send off. All the others will be quiet. Okay, I'll stop there.
Brilliant. Woo!
Yeah. What's a redacted clap?
On mute, obviously, just clapping on mute. There's lots of redacted clapping. That's good.
So,
Yes,
shall I pick the next
Yes,
victim?
Master of Mischief.
And
You.
I really can't read this. Okay, I'm gonna read it. It's, yeah. What? Oh, it's Luna and Adrian.
Blah, blah, blah.
Please commence.
Right, bear in mind now that in 7 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
maybe the meeting will stop. In which case, you must readmit yourselves via the link I've just put in the chat. But if
Thank
somebody,
you, Rhys.
if somebody wants to just read one poem, it might be a bit easier because we want to see the full extent of Luna and Adrian's performance, no doubt. Does anybody like to volunteer a quick poem which is less than 6 minutes long?
Yep. Was that a volunteer?
Tilla.
For Rhys, if we're out of the meeting, the meeting kicks us out, how can we see the link?
You just copy and paste it now.
It's the same link.
Right.
It's the same
To
link
where?
as before.
Oh, right. You just go back in again.
Yeah, you just go back in on the same link,
Ah.
Doug. Yeah.
Oh, it's the same. Oh, okay, okay, right.
It's a
Okay,
devious
cool,
trick
cool.
for cheapskates.
Cool.
I was going to say, just before that, did you think, Rhys, that Iris had rung a bell at the beginning when you were doing your thing?
She'd rung a bell when she pressed the button thing.
When you heard, never mind.
Yes,
I
the
just
bell.
didn't realize it was going to be improvisation, so I ran off and got my bell and played it while something was going on, but not to worry.
Oh, please feel free to improvise, Tilla. Yes.
No,
Ring your bell whenever you like.
right, okay. I'm just going to cover up for a minute and then I'll be back.
Prepare yourselves.
That's just what I'm doing.
Tilla's getting into costume.
Well, not exactly.
Excellent.
Sorry, I need to view myself, I think. Confined within the frame. Omissions are not accidents. Contain, contained, container. Confine, confined. Information, words abuttingambment. We listen, mute. Voice looms in the dark. Syntax connects the rich contained in the little rectangle in the corner of the screen of wobbling heads. Look at the world, it's a veil. We are all shouting together. No one is heard. Say, love, love. You can unmute yourself. We worry about our children. Contained within the frame. Muffled, mouthing the data. Okay then, finished. Did it within the 5 minutes or whatever.
That was brilliant. Thanks, Tilla.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Fantastic. Yes, that's what it feels like. Right, we've got 2 minutes now. We're going to see. It's very exciting. This is the festive element. See if we're going to get extra time.
But they don't they usually tell you like before, 2 minutes before?
It usually flashes on the screen, doesn't it?
We're at 38 minutes.
Rhys, should we quit and rejoin?
Oh yeah.
Is that Chris? Is that a massive dildo?
Yes. Should we quit and rejoin?
Sometimes it gives us extra time, Chris. So we're waiting to see if we're granted this boon.
Do a bit of improvisation and see what happens.
But if they give us extra time, how much time are they going to give us? Are they going to
Gives
give
us
us
loads of
they're
time,
going to
man.
give an hour? If it's in their gift.
No, it's unlimited.
Oh,
But
Gift
only
from the
over
gods.
Christmas. I'm not sure if it starts from today.
oh.
Merry Krampus. 1 minute. Pray to
1
Krampus
minute
for a minute.
remaining.
Please, Krampus, grant us this boon.
Oh, we're still here.
Still here.
Oh,
But isn't it 45 minutes, not 40?
yes.
Is it 40? 40.
Is it 40 or 45?
What? Somebody's put a message. Attention, yes. So what are we going to do for 5 minutes? Weep.
Maybe
I just
let's
saw that.
quit and rejoin.
I just saw
no.
that film last night by Buñuel where none of the people can leave the room.
Yeah,
You know that
that's
one
just the story of the last 8 months, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody leave the meeting or Llanllechid will explode.
The virus can now spread through your screen, and you must stay confined in a single Zoom meeting with your Zoom household.
I'm enjoying this new, completely normal voice that the master of mischief is doing. What's going to happen with that dildo?
I think we'll find out in the second Zoom room.
You have to log back in if we get it thrown out because.
Yeah, but let's just do it now.
No, no, I forbid it. Who's got a poem for 3 minutes? Me?
No, let's do what the film does. I can't leave.
Sorry.
And we all go mad.
Are we at 45 yet?
Because if we leave,
We're at 41.
Can we please just leave now?
No,
Can we just log back in now?
You're ruining the festivities.
We're all ruining the festivities. That's the
This is
point.
Krampus doing this to us.
Krampus is doing
We've
it.
been punished. I think is our punishment beginning already?
Got to build the tension now. Build the tension. 42 minutes.
This is real tier 5 stuff.
Krampus, praise, Krampus, Three more minutes to go.
Woo!
Is that dildo growing?
It appears to be. It's a good size. Fair play, Chris. I don't know if I could take that much on a first attempt. But... Yes, tier 5. That's right. Tier 6.
2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. What can we do for 2 minutes?
Yeah, just improvise, Luna. Make noises, Adrian, whatever you want.
No, we can just read. It doesn't matter.
Let's just breathe. We can do a mindfulness segment.
100. 99. 98.
I like that, yes.
90. Do you like fight again?
102.
Sorry, Ed.
Do you
85.
like
100 seconds and counting.
100.
Do your count.
99, 98, 97, 96, 95.
This is your countdown.
94, 93.
Christmas tier.
Now Dick die. Now Dick
Come on, let's go.
Now Dick.
Christmas pudding, Christmas pudding, Christmas pudding.
Now Dick wyth. Now Dick saith. Now Dick chwech. Now Dick pimp. Now
Don't
Dick.
die.
1 minute.
Where do you see the minutes?
Christmas
Don't
tear.
die.
Christmas teary.
1 minute to go. 1 minute.
Don't die. I ask you not to die. Don't 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 die.
45.
45. We can assume, therefore, that Krampus has granted us.
We have cramped them.
Krampus has granted us this boon.
Yes.
We're immune. We're immune.
We're all immune, yes. As an unexpected bonus, we're all immune to the new strain of coronavirus. Hooray.
Tier 5
Right, who's next?
has come to an end.
I'm going to pick the next person now.
No, because I already picked Luna and Adrian.
Oh, yes.
Rhys,
Sorry.
Okay, we're coming. We're coming.
try
Let's
to
do it.
stage a coup.
Sorry, I forgot. I'm very forgetful. Krampus takes
Yes,
things
it's
out of
okay.
my
That's
mind.
why I'm here, just to remind you.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall
Master
we
of
start?
efficiency. We now have Luna and Adrian. Take it away. Beautiful friends.
So we're in the new thing, or do we have to change or something? How is it?
It looks like we don't have to change.
Brilliant. It's a Christmas present.
Yes.
Anti-Christmas present.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go. So. Okay.
So it was all a bit sudden.
Yeah.
Not
golden, but silver, reflective bubble. Not hidden, but present, processed, empty, deflated, recycled, glowing, growing, emerging from Krist existence, extended, blown away, unboxed with difficulty, hard and thick, excess of glue, needing gloves or chisel, a flattish rectangular box with a lung-like interior and air-tight tap, sweet red ears to dispense its internal liquid, to be licked or liked, to be lichen or purple stain, to stay in or preserve, to share on a field, to feel record. Its bubbleness, a pillow for non-pillow thoughts, a sheep, its edgy frilliness, a wide-angle taste, emitting creases in sunlight. Control is a solid, edge of the universe, shifting the pineal, following a frenzied, momentary suspension.
Join the home office, having no home nor office. Just be sound, cries the owl. Noisy, silent drone messes with the Wi-Fi.
To your fingers, to your cracked screen, to your organ recital inside your lung cathedral.
Breath as moon, moon as wave, wave as motion, motion as breath. Emotional change is within the composition.
Breath as moon, moon as wave, wave as motion, motion as breath, breath as moon, moon as wave, wave as motion, motion as breath, breath as moon, moon as wave, wave as motion, motion as breath.
Information, disinformation, inform action, disinformation, action, info, disinformation, nation, patient, client, customer.
Custom, cluster, bomb, close in, formation, destination, absorption, isolation, mechanism of control, cleansing, ritual, or rhyme.
Data savior, instant flavor, instant ice cream. Top of the server, fly, center of the mountain, distinct chamation, mature, invalidation, postulate,
Fiction or fraction dwells into nations, condensations,
pole, polit, ick, ing, polu, form, polis, is, pol, is, pie, isn't, pint, is, consciousness, is, crow, is, raven, is, magpie, in flight, entertainment.
conscious beings, being friends, shall we? How much is there to learn? The shortest possible distance to some inner world, to the mind, or to what is in, outside of it, inside of the mind. Do it as the crow flies, pointing in, nowhere, knowing where to go or not to go, to keep moving.
Information, disinfection, in packets of permutations, crunching exceptions into logos, filtration, binding impure particles to silver, to copper, to extraction, multiplication, out formation, in chaos station, formulation, formulation, flow in.
Fly in fast. Fantastic notion of distortion, dramatic options, deluded cautions, conglomerations of peaceful humans coexisting, bringing an end to political party options, optimizing energy, clashing with the entire universe of constructs colonizing the mycelium mind. Crisp, cracking,
silent,
slight rain,
chance,
raining
ritual,
as
collective, rambling,
ray,
rhinoceros,
rust,
rest,
rice,
rose,
red,
black,
reed,
lake,
reed, black,
carnival,
procession.
monument or etching, tracing time, carved chalk, inhabit the language, voice of others.
Your voice, retrace the sound, the rain, the silence left over, the light.
Earth and the refinery follow strands of reason that thin the paint, try roller escapes. Keep moving past landscape.
Soundless beats, nature or plastic, earth and the refinery follow strands of reason that thin the paint, try roller skates, keep moving past landscape, splinter your third eye, collect the fragments, follow your gut, befriend the fish, smoked, fried, battered, swallowed inside the elephant and castle.
Its ignition,
Ivory
and
and cutlery.
Its colonized forms.
Best served with evidence destroyed.
It's easier with a mountain of paper than with ships.
With sugar.
With loss.
With oozing.
With asteroids.
With declassified documents.
With extinction.
With wills.
With hiding.
With believing.
With focus.
With folds and decomposition.
With chance and opposition.
With covers on cassette tapes.
With and without laboring.
Laboring. Love. Love.
Light interference. Locus.
Ligaments. Levels of cognition.
Leopards
running wild.
And finally,
At what speed does the pendulum change direction? Oscillating reliably. Can we suspend it, break it, crush it, break it, crush it, break it, crush it, break it, crush it. So Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Woo, 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 woo.
Gonna scare the virus.
Frighten it into submission.
Yeah.
Tiramisu. That was very tiramisu.
Viruses don't like punk. It's well known. Right, who's next?
I think it's your turn.
Thank you. I don't know where I am without my assistant.
Well, yes,
Round
we'll
and
discuss that later,
round,
Rhys.
and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. It's the Master of Mischief.
Oh.
Are you ready, Master of Mischief?
Yes, I just have to text my housemates so they don't change the lights while I'm reading.
The Master of Mischief has also got an assistant.
This is a thing.
I'm your assistant.
I love your hat, Iris. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, but I'm about to take it off.
It doesn't go with the performance.
So, I must find my thing.
Where's the thing?
Now, the thing
Make
is
some
here.
space noises.
First thing.
I have found the thing.
She's found the thing. Don't panic. Right.
You don't panic. Okay. So,
You're on mute.
yes. Please, if you can, turn off all the lights in the room you're in. If you've heard me read this before, I apologize. It is a new version of this thing. Thank you. Open a book and line it with newspaper. Place yourself as flat as you can on the page. Folding properly is a great skill to have. Measure the dimensions of your frame and the eventual self you want. Choosing the right self is essential. Make sure you leave enough material to get a grip to pull and stretch it. There are many different ways to fold. Close the book and weigh it down. Heavy books work well as weight. Store the pile in a warm, dry place and check on yourself daily. You'll get used to being flat. You'll enjoy it. Folding properly is a great skill to have. Place yourself between two sheets of paper and lie flat on an ironing board. At first glance, it may seem somewhat tricky, but by learning the right technique, start with the side of the self closest to you and fold it in. Make sure to keep an even weight. Any part of the self left in free air is likely to collapse. Press the iron on top of the paper without moving it for 10 seconds. Close the book and weigh it down. Previous failures in achieving flat, planar, and taut selves may be largely mitigated with this technique. You'll get used to being flat. You'll enjoy it. If you require a particular type of self that is not available as a ready-made, you may wish to make a custom self. There are many different ways to fold. At first glance, it may seem somewhat tricky. Start with the side of the self closest to you. Press the iron on top of the paper. Make sure you leave enough material. Folding properly is a great skill to have. Depending on the self that you are pressing and the drying conditions, insert these staples in the center of the frame. Close the book. You'll get used to being flat. You'll enjoy it. You'll go in and out of rooms even when the door is closed. Switch to one of the unstapled sides and give yourself a good solid pull. Try to lay yourself out in a way that looks natural. Make sure that each side remains visible. Fold over and insert two staples, attaching yourself to the frame. At first glance, it may seem somewhat tricky, but by learning the right technique, you can fold quickly and efficiently. Wrap yourself all the way around the frame. Pull a piece of loose self and staple it down. Depending on the self that you are pressing and the drying conditions, folding properly is a great skill to have. It can take just a couple of days to a few weeks to completely dry out. Work from your center out to each corner. Each side includes essential features. Go slowly, stretching a little bit at a time. Drying yourself quickly can help preserve color. Try placing yourself next to a radiator or central heating boiler if you have one. There are many different ways to fold. If you're trying to press a bulkier self, add extra paper and card to ensure that every part is being directly pressed. This will avoid parts shriveling up. Continue pulling and stapling pieces. Go slowly, stretching a little bit at a time. You'll get used to being flat. You'll enjoy it. You'll go in and out of rooms even when the door is closed. Ironing is a fairly straightforward process. Books like dictionaries and phone books work best, although it can be somewhat tricky if you've never done it before. Depending on the self that you are pressing and the drying conditions, pull a piece of loose self and staple it down. Newspaper works well as an immediate covering. It is fairly absorbent and has antifungal properties. Try placing yourself next to a radiator. The parts around the corners should still be quite loose. You'll tighten them up later. Even warming the newspaper before using it helps reduce moisture. There are many different ways to fold. If you're trying to press multiple selves at once, use kitchen roll to create an extra layer. You could also consider cutting the selves in half. You'll get used to being flat. You'll enjoy it. You'll go in and out of rooms, even when the door is closed, just by lying down and sliding through the crack. At first glance, it may seem somewhat tricky, but learning the right technique, each side includes essential features. Folding properly is a great skill to have. It can take just a couple of days. It's important that none of the selves touch. Otherwise, when they dry, they might get stuck together. Go back to the first side, tuck one side of the corner under the other, pulling tight, making sure that each side is just even. The dried self may be quite brittle, so be careful when moving it.
This is the final tightening, the most important part. Traditionally, pressed selves used to be sewn onto thick paper. You could attempt that if you enjoy sewing and have suitable paper, but glue works perfectly well. You'll get used to being flat. You'll enjoy it. You'll go in and out of rooms, even when the door is closed. It can take just a couple of days. Sanding can turn an average self into a great one. Sometimes it helps to make a little slit. Stretch it tight to make it flush with the sides of the frame. If you're working with materials that release toxic particles, you'll want to create a seal around your face. Being flat can also be helpful. It's easier after you get flat. You don't want rough staples around the edges while you're working. Go around the self and pound each staple with your hammer to make sure everything is flush with the frame, folding properly. Even when the door is closed, the right technique. Anti-slip pads are great for gripping flat selves during sanding. Try to lay yourself out in a way that looks natural. Try placing yourself next to a radiator. Consider cutting yourself in half or simply using a clamp. Hand sanding techniques are best when the self is quite soft. Sometimes it helps to make a little slit. You could attempt that if you enjoy sewing, but glue works perfectly well. It's easier after you get flat. There are many different ways to fold quickly and efficiently. Choosing the right self is essential. Press, press, press the iron. Check the tightness of the self once you're finished. The dried self may be quite brittle, so be careful when moving it. When you flip it over and tap it with your finger, it should sound like a drum and feel quite taut. After stretching, it's important to let yourself rest. Not all selves are easy to press. Some take a long time to dry. Some tend to spoil and crumble. Once the self is nice and dry, you can carefully remove it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Iris, master of mischief.
who's next?
Your turn to decide.
Yourself.
Round and round she
Cheers.
goes. Where she stops, nobody knows.
To yourself. To yourself.
A salve on self.
And the winner is Chris Paul, who has joined
Hey.
us.
Unmute yourself, sir.
Unmute yourself.
Lube your dildo and unmute yourself.
Unmute thyself.
I am unmuted.
Take it away, sir.
I'm not sure if you can see all this paraphernalia that I have. I'll move the dildo back a little bit, maybe.
Yes, it looks good there.
It wants to fall over. I hope that's not a metaphor.
Just suction cup it to the wall. That's what I do.
Indeed. I haven't written anything. I just thought I'd try to redact time instead. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to slide more back a little bit. There we go. Enero. Fruition, stardom, acceptance. Victory, the 6 of Wands, the inspiring, the scoring, the attempt, the culmination of inspiring, the confidence, the prize, the objective. Deification, defecation, catapult, exaltation. Febrero. Indifference and drowsiness and disdain and malaise. The 8 of Cups is indolence and a zip of restless, wistful hostility. Frustration and ignorance. Lassitude. Mazo. The 5 of Swords is defeat. The emotion, the conflict, the assertion of disorder, the hard-nosed struggle, the broken pessimism, the enmity I feel inside, maliciousness and pettiness to myself. Defeat is Abril. The 11 of Swords is an anxious and energetic and a jovial and fascinated affair, an intrigued and surprised and astute, fidgety introvert, agitated and sleeplessness, an indifferent industriousness. Mahjong. The 4 of Swords is acquiescence, a possible fortuitous peace, a synchronicity. Let's mediate and keep and pact and be prayerful and pact and bubble and pact and agree entirely. Mechavan. The 6 of Swords is a science, a scientific effect, a change management, step chemistry, research and philosophy, investigating, leashing mathematical simplicity, brilliance and calmness, brilliance and cleverness, brilliance and theory. Julio. The 7 of Cups, debauch, incompetence and inspiration and paranoia and avarice and indulgence and drunkenness. The frustration of romance, the illusion of the erotic, the criminality of the apparent decision of veils. The heroin abuse, the rampage, the suppliers, the apparent delusion is wishful ignorance, reduced wishful thinking. Out. The 7 of Pentacles is a failure. To wait, to slack. The visual earrings, the visual earnings of patience and bonus, FIDA funded, cash patently failure. Totality, a teetotal visionary, an asset of failure and merit at a pace sluggish. September. The 13 of Wands is a queen, a femdom mother, a sociable self-assurance, a psychokinesis, fetish kissing poetry of mindfulness, a robust artistic republic, proudly BDSM. October. The 8 of Wands is swiftness and dreadful messaging, frankness, networking, candor, initiatives, inventiveness, and a finality of slow change. The slow away partnership, the directing, the accelerate. November, the Trump's emperor, the federal rationality, the jurisdiction, the durability of government, the success of parenthood, the equality of fatherhood, the aspirations and the honest complexity of, let's call it a mandate, let's call it an echelon, let's call it a midlife robustness, let's call it the emperor, let's call it passion, let's call it a crude. December, an occurrence of problems and symptoms and woes and grieving pain, this fucking headache, this disturbance, this tearful end of angst and despair, of difficulties and rejection and loneliness and frustration. Fuck that. Let's go for the 11 of Pentacles, the page, the industry, the hobby, the teaching increased apprentice, the diligent, the outdoors, the newspaper, the weapons, the self-delusion, the self-deception. Six of Trumps, the lovers, extramarital contracts, bargaining unity, a marriage of tranquility. And the 7 of Wands is valor, bold, and diverse. Thank you.
Ray.
Hey.
Not too loud, it's creating
Ha 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 ha. Krampus be praised. The next person to perform will be round and round she goes, where she stops, nobody knows. The next person to perform is Doug Jones.
Me,
That's you, sir.
Yes.
Dougie.
because I'm quite, don't want to criticize anything here, but Krampus has not been following the science. We need to follow the science, and Science. You need to follow the science. Krampus, have you followed the science? Krampus, have you? I want to ask. Krampus, have you followed the science, Krampus? Krampus. 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 Have you followed? The mind of a flower is capable of anything, including me, had fused into 4 or 5 similarly constituted men that in a fugue state, dressed up like foresters, distributing the generative portion of the plant, because in a moment in the strange witchcraft of pollinated insects, we constitute empire thoughts, in units split by bracts, penetrating the ray flowers, a green, deliberate blankness. Home visit to a labourer's room. The woman was not there. Suppose what did not please her anymore. She proved to put a stop to before she went. She put up a possession neatly on a shopping trolley. The bosses had no idea. When people go off like that in things like coffee production, one might question the value of violence. If the room was her. We give suffrage to the copper workers that we run the middle way. Anchor goods in big numbers, no beginning, end, cycle, votes, voice of a mine shipping. We give back to the truck. All raids, all guns, driving one miles with a statute guys in a loading bay have credit for the open loaded hours. Their inventory lorries they bring in run stock out of candor. Delivery stem on a rope. Radiant boy. Think there's a key binary relation between patron X in her flat and all the flats available on Earth, and though her flat is the dullest, basest place you ever saw, that's where you'll find her. Element relation to a vast residency, the self-soul within. For she is the set contains calmly, reeds in the river, the water course for Tross town, heat of the sun, math tenement in the plague on. Dead leaves. King James has gone to wearing a mask. Someone stop him, please. He's frightening me. Defends nothing with his new take going round. Caught in a screen. World trails his company. Cane men extrinsic to his head. The looks unwise, I say, dependent on prayers. Stuck behind a shield, turning in, lead only to your face. But I'm James, he said. Nothing I ever did or said was true. A weave translated in flies. How long ago was it that this madness started? There's only one bomb now, one church of all the nationalist movements on earth, all the sidearms, small habitants of human thought or belief that express themselves, get taken up in the sign bomb. Grade A death cults recollected. Perhaps we're in the most propitious time for a vision, exemplifying need and fear. One warm clergy, the human face. The NHS is where the tragedy, complexity of the human condition meets the stone, the veil, the ivory crown, but that the buzzer the poor woman did not enter, could not qualify, and yet her top suit, green-coated mystery was put on the people in the shutter room, knocked them from their feet. Feet was left out in the car park shouting her face off, but how she would protect everyone. Poems on fights with poor Yarmouth women. There's a lot of poems in the pool. Cool air lies under the warm head, a cap of water shoes, the changing hall in white human fat thigh, a reset arm, gut smell burst to give heat to the linear pull of skin, a physical contrition, this body of a virus, of a hill of bad faith. Old in these works, indestroyable caves and sentience, in pool art as a stroke. Moon crater. One day I noticed that my patients with a history of domestic violence later received radical hysterectomies. A work day, you drive home, see people walking their dogs, talking kindly to them. You read charm, their faded grace, pet pictures, cat picture cards, memorabilia of good animals, kitten in a boot, things for which you became clear. Get behind your ground glass chair, the screen. In great confusion and the moon look up in the morning, the sun wins a thin, clever victory, but there's nothing to hold in the light of the day. No ink, ideas, a trick, a cheat sky, duty sunlight giving state appeared. One can almost touch, there's rage and love and sport, twice the greatest chimera of them all, chasing the reflection of the moon, the investigations of the moon money, the lungs unheated take. Looks like patient X's mind has exhausted him, coughing the underdog from prison, a clear white water in the ruin of the town. Nature is this, as water poured in on X's body over a black bile in venality, rage for as long as we can stand looking, even gets back from the woods to talk to our law. The doctors and him, this fool of a patient, all shouty, the chips of a tree, sentences in nature, calm him. I've never been so happy, the new mother said earlier. Walking the strip, Francis pointed out a giant toy windmill in front of Georgian's house. How ugly. But are these the gradients, ski ruptures in space, moments that aggregate and bind, dear child, verify the tough cell? Who can be topped? Look where the baby is, first came out to yet as neutral frame, harmony, in front the mother, only power. Shares of narrative teaching images are killing poetry, stiff as a board, thrown to the heap, circles of a malignant wood, craft nature cooped to suit us to help spring packs of fat bread along the service path. We and the house flowers, kid, flag, consult verse, a killing muse. Words get more mad and Dan, best poetry's put out a trash, a broken fridge under plastic sheets as if it were a building. 7,000 years back, was it, the humans sitting in the snow, that they first thought something to make them angry, as it just couldn't be true. Did death, parts, take them out their heads? Primitive, monotonous, a number, an imaginary number away from the fire with no real sight matters applied to something needed and quaint, melt, that they knew they were looking at their daughter. I've no one to guard, nowhere to guard the Jerry Springs Hotel. No, please don't, Jerry Springs Hotel. Stuffed bears, shaved gear, and for bathing cover, 115 rooms, each one clean. Sulphur smooth guests are that caught bodies, sudden fresh of their own milk of a maid in their ice ash, orangeness of their nakedness. She sees everything, no security, no fires contained, no hands. Contact reports coming in, terrible things, a narrative that makes no sense, areas of susceptibility, areas of resistance, men and women. You hurt us and you don't know why. That history being has no meaning. Hissing, weapon, revelatory and skin-tight tramps. A fat man leaps from the pool. That was amazing, wasn't it? Amazing. Had swum like a violent fish. This short guy, the forest visible. The sick times, so I decided to stay in this body, disordered though it was, though it may please Providence, tired, ill, well advanced into the history of the blocks, the tattoos and the shyness, the rolls of fat but smooth-skinned hand. The reader at the door returned and spoke. Sometimes I fear that there's nothing except my love for you, my darling. Pitch block, life, head and stomach as we fast. Patient X is home again, sweat to the eyes in the quiet of the head, to see friends, family, children again, a deep animal love held above the sea, the smallest motes of light power. They're birds, they're insects, they are human. They're in a long time, the hound, car of silver, box of silver, car and despair, but that doesn't matter now. Age is vast, patient, what's this is good or recuperating strange? It's a naught, quick update from the heart of the sun, still on the hot surface, as if the law that deep nails the plant and heaven heat from Noah courts. Head, a herd grims who fuss and cry, but can't to bake make a different sustenance. Each leaf goes through the face of the bud that burns it. Violent coughing life. If only I could hide in the shadows, boss. Out of the core of the energy century, bring it to my cell. Unbeatable squirrel fans. No one owns your rights. Listen, this is the deal. Outraged by the world lots, they formed a superhero team. Can't tell your squirrels one for another. Well, this gang all mean the same thing. Business, work, a contagion of them over the supermarkets, the cattle, the cars. They right wrongs never be destroyed. Good matter. They dig the pits deep. Back in the cold north, coach the ambulance crew take out a bundle of clothes. They think it were once a Mormon man. Fingertips search for dry skin, heaven, live eyes, there's a calm. Yes, I believe so too, in a sense, this fanatic stake. Dry visits, hand leg, clawing the crown of the head of the lamb. They course branches of the man's lost visions. Are you hot and dry now? Yes, ying, my pharmacopoeia. Snow, clothes on God. Silent acrobat, ladybird off ads. Down by the river, growth happens to a gauge smaller than even them. Sparks under their wing covers fly up down the line between the gun cotton colored man and the war. Colonnades of bombs, surfaces, bangs are feared as they burn in direction to the graces of wet shingle, then scatter back to the guns. Young boys, in life, all this must happen when it gets cold. Oh, you think you have a boy's name tied you down as an animal in a pole, are you today? A hog or a pig, harder work, washing up with transforming trotters for the intercorpora men, clerks, fell units at the palace, making supper for them when the witch work out all animals now. But are you worth merging back into, past my food? Every combination of beasts is a logic, a statute for the look of us shrouding in the boot of your car. This is the poem, not sure if either hate or love is what you can do in it for what you can see. Collode metal box of time or meaningful joint research and write, express like a hamstrung bill to go, do tell, on point of the drive chance and court, like a human aged, ugly, a body on the cage of the car, one cries, turn it up, on the straps, step heavy, fields. Obsession is the other thing to fear. There's no science without it. What will we do with our homes, our vaccines, driven from the labs like kings, rub like myrrh on us forever? A baptism, rearing in the vows, abstracted thinking of the forms, beliefs in serious becoming and our death, needs for a dowry in stone cathedrals, castles, marriage on the stalls, a restitution, please, for me in Yarmouth yesterday doing my thing, the silence of the world, of forgiveness. Again thought of patient X at the end of his family. He did, and there too was Y, who came out to protect them too in the removed consciousness of hell, marked alert as nothing grasps. Yes, I think they will be friends in time. The character's dear now is help. No help. I was the help, stuck at the gate. The light. King Street pops, the foraging god of different cuz of foreign worlds, dense worms, a sparrow flied, and what? We as humans were not anything, really, but the dense cast of the sea. Our narratives after an American hair, a sense exquisite grown that they have this face, a deal ideal that is full on after sleep, King Street. You have the markings of an intense tithe of a witch that is a cup in space.
Woo!
Fucking right. Real tears there.
Hey, man.
You must be exhausted after
Krampus
that.
approves.
Reading that.
From his lungs.
History.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. That was brilliant.
Was mind blowing.
Who's
Well,
left?
Rhys, I
Who is
think
left?
you're left. I have 2 papers here. Let's see. Maybe someone else will just have to read again. Who
Maybe.
knows?
I'm fine with that.
It's Doug. No, just kidding.
You must do it. You must do it standing on your head.
It's time.
It is time. Praise Krampus. Praise Krampus. Also, praise Ubu. Ubu, ab initio, Ubu, Uber Lieutenant, Ubu, abhorrence, Ubu, abstract, Ubu, upbraided, Ubu, superb, conniption, Ubu, imperator, Ubu, dubbing, Ubu, uploaded, Ubu, abstain, Ubu, pubel, Ubu, ablation, Ubu, aberration, Ubu, cobbing, Ubu, adwice, Ubu, enabler, Ubu, covers, miser, subromance, sport, Ubu and Krampus. Next to Juliet, dead, Romeo, raisin, don't be a hero, outlaws, tries to be, action, portfolio, strategic, resonant sounds overlapping since Humanes invented beautiful, tries to be, action, portfolio, history of the history of the history of wolves, Dogfather, his slug-baked poisoning, King Bassett, curb, cub, tell me what's wrong, proof, happily, a circus, fitness and kissing, forgetting, silver bullets, shuddering action, gritty and crazy, ersatz, flogger, Rhys, the Rhys, the Rhys, the it's not Krampus, it's not Technoma, it's not Ubu, it's not Lupine, it's not just making Technoma, the cream, colored blue. Equine behavior, enmity, lupine, cinder block, yawn, furrow, Goldilocks, sex acts, tipping, emp, crossing arms, or ships. Red as sauvin, little white dove, deep zipper, boots, totem, flow, looms, control, to Ubu ab initio, to Krampus, Igor, Ogofai, Ken Khaled, points underground, forehead attack, Amarver Kurf, sports, Amarver Kurf, training the body, Amarver Kurf, training the body, Amarver Anyan, training the instinct, Amarver Anyan, Astim, Amarver Astim, training, genuflection, Amarver Tagadai, training the eye, subdue the eye, Amarver Kari, training to love, Amarver Floivio, training to bellow, Amarver Hela, training to hunt. And paginate, commerce, mercantile, genuflection versus disease, runs for reality, but in failing, spreading ink in water, smoke in air. Amarver Kurf, training the body, Trico, ger a gofau, trig points, underage, ymarfer arnian, ymarfer ystym, ymarfer llygadau, ymarfer caru, ymarfer bloeddio, ymarfer heddo, hela, ymarfer training, practicing the body, practicing hunting, practicing the eye, practicing to love, practicing the body, practicing to attack, practicing to hunt, practicing. All hail,